Hi, today we're going to learn about redistricting and gerrymandering. The goals here for today are to define redistricting and gerrymandering, to understand why gerrymandering is used, to know 3 gerrymandering techniques, and to analyze the options we have for fixing it. First thing you need to understand is what redistricting is. A census is taken every 10 years in this country. Census meaning they check to see how many people there are in the country, and people are always moving. Okay, now the House of Representatives, each House of Representative district has about 750,000 people in it, and when people move around they have to redraw those districts. That's part of the process. People move, you have to make sure that every district has the same. You don't want one district to have 1 million, one to have 500,000. So you got to redraw the lines. If a district is a majority Republican, that increases Republican power and vice versa. So both parties want to have control of the districts. How the district lines are drawn can shape which side wins the district. And that's what this is all about, is drawing the district lines. This leads to what gerrymandering is. Gerrymandering is the unfair drawing of district lines, where one party draws the lines to their advantage in some way or another. For example, let's look at this hypothetical situation here, where you have this district with 25 voters in it. You pretend the X's are one party, the O's are another party. If we count these up, we have 12 X voters and 13 O voters. Okay, now gerrymandering is the unfair drawing of district lines. So if we just draw the lines straight across and just have straight districts like this, remember there are lots of ways we could draw these districts. If we draw them straight, remember each district has to have the same amount of people in it, so 5 in this case. If we draw the lines straight across, the X wins 2 and the O wins 3. Here X wins 5-0. O wins 4-1, X wins 3-2, O wins 3-2, and O wins 4-1. Count up the voters just like we would in real life. Now here's our old one that we had. Now here's a different way to draw it. If we just take the same 25 voters, and you'll notice the X's and O's are in the same spots in both maps. Take the same 25 voters, we can draw the lines differently and make X win 3 and O win 2. Even though, remember, there are more O's than X's. So the O's should have more. But in this case, the X's win 3 and the O's win 2. So we've gone against the will of the people. Here's another example where we make it even worse. Remember, there's 13 O voters and 12 X voters, so the O's should win. And here, by drawing the lines differently here, the X's win 4 districts and the O's win 1 district. The X's increase their political power in Congress. Why is gerrymandering used? Well, one party uses it on the other to change the results of the election and ensure victory for one party. So basically they're using it to win, whatever that takes. Another example here, and we'll get to this later, is both parties can use it to make sure that all the incumbents or the people in office from both sides keep their seats. So both parties, in other words, work together to gerrymander to make sure that they keep their jobs. All right, there's 3 gerrymandering techniques we need to know. There's packing, cracking, and kidnapping. All right, let's take packing first. Packing is a technique where you take all of the other side. So if you're the O's, you'd want to do this to the X's. You'd put all the X's into one district. The advantage of that is that it doesn't matter if you win a district by 1 vote or by a million votes. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you have at least 1 more vote than the other side. So if you pack all the X's into one thing, the X's can win that one. If you're the O's, you're saying, fine, they can win that one. They can have all those ones, and we'll get the rest of them. So with the remaining 20 voters, now the X's are outnumbered since you packed them all together like that. Now there's 13 O's. We can go ahead and draw the rest of the districts and make sure that we win the O's, the other 4 districts, by packing them all together. We win 4-1 now. Here's cracking. Here you have O's up here and X's spread around here. The O's are dominant up by Ofstedal Lake. It's a good lake. You guys should check it out. The O's are dominant up here. The X's are dominant on the outsides. So we're going to, if we're the X's, we're going to try to crack into this dominant voter group here. Because for sure the O's have this district. But if we crack into it like this, now we've cracked into that group of voters there and peeled them off, and now we can take them apart one at a time. Here you see they're all together and they win. Here we crack them apart and we win, the X's. Kidnapping is where, in order to be a representative from a district, you have to live in that district. So by drawing the lines, you could kidnap someone else, someone who lives near the border, a representative, you could go in and take that person's house and put it in a different district so they can't run in the district they're used to running in. That's another sneaky way to gerrymander. You steal their house, in other words. This, by the way, actually happens. This is not theoretical. Here's Iowa. This district, or this state, only has 5 districts, so it's not that gerrymandered. Here you can see there's a little gerrymandering here, but not bad. Okay, now look at some of these other states. Here's North Carolina. Now look at the 3rd district in North Carolina. You can see that there's been a lot of gerrymandering that has gone on in North Carolina. Here's another example of number 12 in the middle here that looks pretty bad. Florida is notorious for gerrymandering. Here you can see a lot of gerrymandered districts here where the lines have been drawn to grab certain kinds of voters and probably to make these people keep their seats in Congress. Why is gerrymandering bad, okay? Well, first, we have to understand that democracy is the rule of the people. That's the definition of democracy. Gerrymandering goes around what the people want and gives an election result that a particular party might want, not what the people want. So that's why it's bad. What is the solution? Why haven't we fixed this? Well, one solution here is that both parties could draw the lines together so that one side isn't favoring over the other. The problem with that is that they just gerrymander to keep their jobs. Okay, they work together to make sure that the Democrats keep their job, the Republicans keep their job, so that doesn't work. You could pay someone to do it fairly, but when you start entering money into drawing the gerrymandering lines, you could end up with corruption as one group or another controls the people that control the lines. Yet a third option here is to use a mathematical algorithm that just splits voters in two in a state and continues to split them and continues to split them over and over and over. And the lines are straight. There's no gray area. The lines are just drawn based on whatever the mathematical algorithm says. The only problem with that is it could end up with an unfair outcome just by chance, but at least everyone would know why the lines are drawn where they are and know that there's no cheating. And it's just bad luck if something happens where one side barely wins over the other side. All right, so that's gerrymandering. So again, here's our goals. We define redistricting and gerrymandering, understand why gerrymandering is used and whom it benefits, our 3 gerrymandering techniques of cracking, packing, and kidnapping, and the options that we have for fixing gerrymandering altogether. Make sure you check back and ensure that you know all of those things.